just going to look at the conditional expression in Python. Okay, so this is one of the concepts that I don't see a lot of people using it, but it is very important for you to know. It helps you simplify um, decision making when we only have two-way statements. Okay, that is the if and the else. So now let's look at the expression, the conditional expression in Python. So we took a look at the conditional statements in Python, okay, and it was great and it helped us in decision making. Also, in cases where we have just two-way conditional statements like the if and the else statements, we can avoid them, or we can avoid that and use the conditional expression. Okay, so this is the structure of the conditional expression as follows. So we have the value and we have the if keyword over here, followed by the expression and the else and the other value as well. So the value, the if keyword, the expression, the else keyword, and the other value that we want to print. Okay, now let's take a look at this simple program over here. Okay, this simple example over here. So we know about the um, internal import. Okay, the internal import, that is the math module. Okay, so we are importing the math module over here, and what we are doing is that we have a variable called x and it's assigned to a value called 2, and a variable called y is also assigned to a value called none. Okay, so now this y holds nothing for now. What we are doing is that we are using the conditional statement over here. So we are saying if x is greater than 0, what we are doing is that we are setting y. Okay, we are changing the state from none to the log of x. Okay, so whatever value x is, it will just be plugged here. So if this a value is to, let's say, 4 or any number, now the y is going to be set to that number. Else, if the value of if the value of x is less than 0, then you're just going to set the y to a none. Okay, so now here, when we run this code, we see that when we run this code and print y, we see that y holds the value 6.93147. Okay, that is the log of 2. Okay, now let's take a look at using or converting this code into a conditional expression. So using the conditional expression for the same problem. Okay, now this expression reads just like a plain English. So y gets the log of x if x is greater than 0. Otherwise, it gets none. Okay, so here we've just reduced this code 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 lines of code to just 3 lines of code. So we are setting a value called x, okay, to 0 over here. And what we are doing is that we are assigning a variable y, okay, to this conditional expression. So here we are saying that this is the value that we are going to print out if x is greater than 0. Else, this is what you're going to print. So when we come back to the explanation, so we have the value if the expression evaluates to true. Else, it will default to this other value. Okay, so here what you're doing is that if indeed x is greater than 0, what it's going to do is that y is going to be set to this. Okay, the log of x. Otherwise, y is going to be set to none. Okay, so equally, when we run this code, we're just going to see none because x was set to 0. Now when I set x to 5 and I run this code, we see that now y is 1.6094. Okay, so now let's take another example. Now here we have a normal way of doing stuff. Right? So we have a normal function over here that takes in two parameters. Okay, so we have the name and the message. Now the default value for the message is none over here. Okay, and what I'm doing is that I'm just printing a formatted string over here displaying that my name is the name that we're going to pass into this function when the function is being called. Okay, so I have an if statement here to check that if the message is none, I'm setting the message to an array. Otherwise, I'm setting the message to the message that I'm going to pass over here. Okay, so initially when I don't pass anything to this message and the function or the statement evaluate and it is none, this message is going to be set to an empty list. Okay, and now when I pass in a message and this gets set to the message, what I'm doing is that I'm returning a formatted string over here saying that the message is, okay, so the message is, then I'm printing the message. So now I'm calling the function over here and I'm giving it a name, okay. So let's change this name to, let's say, Python, okay. And let's have this, so we'll say that this is my message. So this is my message to the world, okay. Now when I run this code, we see that my name is Python, okay. That is the first print statement that was executed. And now the return statement is about the message. So we see here that the message is then followed by the message. Now in a case where I don't pass in anything over here, okay, we're going to have the message will default to an empty list, which is over here, okay. So now there's a normal way of doing it. Now let's try to convert this code into a normal um conditional expression, okay. So similarly, I have a function over here called msg1, okay. It takes in the name and also the message. The default value for the message is none. So now over here, what I'm doing is that I'm setting a user message, okay, user msg, and I'm saying that the value is an empty list if the message is none. Otherwise, this user msg will be set to this value, okay. So now, and I'm going to return my name is name and my message is the message, okay. So let me also change this one to Python, okay. And we have here, so hello world is the message. Now when I run this, we'll see that my name is Python and my message is hello world. Hello world is the message, okay. So my name is Python, my message is hello world is the message. Now similarly, when I remove this arguments here and I run this, we're going to see that my name is Python and my message is an empty string, okay. Now the next example that I'm going to take is writing a recursive implementation of the factorial, okay. So what I'm doing is that I'm defining a function called factorial which takes a number n, okay. And what I'm doing is that I'm checking if the number is equal to 0, okay, and I'm going to return 1. So for the factorial, when we have 0 factorial, it equals to 1. So this is the base condition to check for 0 and return 1. Else, I'm just calling the function recursively. So I'm printing the number times the factorial. So it is just going to check. So it's just going to be the number, okay, times the n minus 1. So it is just going to be, so if I have something like 5, it's just going to be 5 times 4. It is just going to be reduced to the last number, okay. So now here when I pass in 3 over here, I'm just going to get 6, okay. When I change the value from 6 to 12, I'm just going to get a number. Equally, when I change it to 5, I'm going to get 120, okay. So now we can also rewrite this recursive factorial function using the expression, okay, the conditional expression. Now this code 1 2 3 4 5 6 has just been reduced to 3 lines of code, okay. And that is what makes the conditional expression very fun and very easy to implement, okay. It's reduced or it helps us to simplify our code. So here also I'm defining the factorial function and I'm giving it a name of factorial 2, okay. It also takes in a number, and what I'm doing here is that I'm just returning 1 if n is equal to 0. Else I'm recursively calling the function to perform the same operation as we have in the code above when we implemented it recursively over here. So now we are using the conditional expression to also implement this recursively. Now we'll learn about recursion, but this is just an example for you to reduce the code using the conditional expression, okay. So when I pass in 4 over here and I run in, I get 24, and equally when I pass in 5 here, I'll get 120 as we saw. So this brings us to the end of the conditional expression. I hope you find this video very useful, and if you do, kindly subscribe to my channel and also give it a thumbs up so that the algorithm will promote this video. All right guys, catch you guys in the next tutorial. Bye.